Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to HemingwayLand.com, your source for quality, affordable land in the state of Colorado. Continuing with our recent string of acquisitions, I should say, in the southern part of the Rocky Mountain State. We've got another great property for you out here in Huerfano County. As you can see from the headline, this is a pre-staked lot. It's got power at the lot line. It's close to Lathrop State Park, which puts it like 5 minutes away from not one but two bodies of water, which you can see right here. And of course, best of all, there's no HOA, no HOA dues, and covenants and restrictions are very, very light if they are being enforced at all. So with all that said, guys, let's get to it. This is reference number HFCO-1600, located as noted in Huerfano County, down in the south central portion of the state. More specifically, guys, is in the Greenhorn Village subdivision. And this property is a scooch under 5 acres, 4.96 to be exact. We, however, will round off for conversational purposes in today's video and call it a 5-acre property. And as you saw up top, this 5 acres is priced at $18,000. We got GPS coordinates down here like we have on all of our listing pages. You want to see where this is on a map, click any one of these, and voila, in a new window, the map shall appear. So first off, guys, let's talk about where this is in Colorado. You probably cannot see this very well on the screen, but we've got Colorado here in front of us. There's a lot of green on this map, so it makes it hard to decipher. But this is the square-shaped state of Colorado. And down here in the south central portion of the state is where the property is located. Quick thing, guys, this pin, the pin on the Google Maps, there's like a bug in Google. It has a tendency to appear and disappear. If you just kind of goof around with the map a little bit, if the pin isn't there, if you pull the map up and you don't see the pin, just goof around with the map a little bit, zoom in, zoom out. The pin will make itself known. Anyway, point being, this is where the property is located. If you know nothing about Colorado geography, you know Denver, you know there's various sports franchises that exist up here. How far is Denver from the subject property? Roughly, if we right-click and measure distance, you will see you are about 2.5 hours just south of Denver. Of course, all of that is pretty good drive time. You're going to be doing about 75, 80 miles an hour because the subject property is located very close right here to the I-25 corridor. Of course, Colorado Springs is about an hour and a half north, Pueblo is about an hour north, and the nearest town to the subject property is Walsenburg. Walsenburg over here just east, roughly about a 5-minute drive from the property to Walsenburg. Right here, of course, Walsenburg is a town of about 6,000 to 8,000 people. We've got photos in the gallery, guys. In case you don't know Walsenburg, in case you are not familiar with it, it is a charming, rustic Rocky Mountain town. Of course, the photos here include the local lumber store, local lumber and hardware store. We presume if you buy the land, you start building out there, you're probably going to be making daily trips there. The nearest Walmart is a little bit further away. It's about 40 minutes south in Trinidad, Colorado, down by the Trinidad Lake State Park. Whatever the case, this is your nearest hardware store, your nearest grocery store. You got a hospital out here. You got a lot of groceries and supplies that you have access to really just down the street from the subject property. So this is what the town looks like, and this is what's out there for you. Anyway, guys, with that said, I also want to make it clear the property sits, as we pointed out in the headline, very close to the Lathrop State Park. Lathrop, of course, is home to 2 major lakes, Horseshoe Lake and Martin Lake, and the subject property is just north of it. Also on the listing page here, guys, we have some maps that we boosted from the Lathrop State Park website. You can view these and get a sense of exactly what's available to you out there. Of course, within this region, you have camping areas, you have picnic areas, you have hunting areas, bird watching areas, RV areas. There's somewhere here on the, yes, RV camping areas, so on and so forth. And of course, with the lakes, you have plenty of opportunities. If you own a boat or you don't own a boat, of course, you can go out there. You can swim, jet ski, fish, so on and so forth. It should be noted, guys, and let me get on my list so it sounds like I've actually fished sometime in my life. The fish that are popular in this region include the rainbow trout, the walleye, the catfish, the bluegills, the tiger muskie, and the crappie, etc. And of course, in the gallery, we also have some helpful photos of the lake. These were taken, by the way, guys, in February. Our photographer was out there when it was cold and it was closed, but normally, of course, it's a lot of activity out here, a lot of people on the lake, boating, fishing, jet skiing, relaxing, so on and so forth, whatever the case. From the photos, you can see this is a pretty big area, and you've got a lot of room to just kind of hang out and play and picnic and camp and so on and so forth. Anyway, guys, with all that said, let's go now to the subject property. So, as noted, the subject property is located up here just north of the 2 lakes. It is in the Greenhorne Village subdivision, which is roughly this area that you see kind of outlined on the map. All these little roads that are snaking through here that all have names on them. This is Greenhorne Village, and this specific property sits right here just south of road I can't pronounce, Culebra Boulevard. It is roughly a square-shaped lot like this. To be clear, guys, don't get confused. We actually also have another lot almost right across the street from this one. It's like right up here that we are selling. So if you think I'm just repeating myself from a previous video, for the most part I am, but this is actually a completely different property. And for the record, guys, we don't have the plat outlined here on Google Maps, but if you come back here to the photo gallery, let me just direct your attention. We have, as always, the helpful Google Earth overlay to give you a sense of the size, shape, location, general footprint of this square-shaped property, roughly square-shaped. And, of course, we also have the plat map, so you know that we are not just making up random geometric shapes and putting them on land. This is actually what the property looks like out here. This, by the way, is the best plat map we were able to get from Huerfano County, but this is the subject property right here, Lot 231F. YI. It should be noted, guys, if we go back here to the map and go to satellite view, you can see a couple details here that I want to point out to you. Number one is there is power at the lot line. The power, however, is not here along the roadway. It is here along the southern end of the property. In fact, if we zoom in a little bit more, we can see that there is a utility easement right here along the southern boundary. There are also, strangely, more power lines going this way. So that's kind of an odd configuration, I should tell you. Whatever the case, power out there, and of course, nearby structure, nearby home site, people living. This is roughly about 1,000 feet west, thank you, 1,000 feet west of the subject property. But the point is that there are home sites out here, there are people living out here, and if we zoom back a little bit, you can see some other regions that have been developed, some other homeowners who are living in this area, etc., etc. With all that said, guys, let's go to the property-specific photos. I want to show you exactly what this looks like. The first thing that jumps out at us here is we have got some really well-maintained roads. So this is not one of these properties where you need some kind of giant truck or off-road capable vehicle. You can go out there in your Prius and get out to the land. So roads are in good condition. I believe these are county maintained. Don't quote me on that, but I believe they're county maintained. We've also got property boundary markers over here, which you can see in this photo and some of the additional photos that go throughout the gallery here. Of course, the big benefit to you, the buyer, is that the property has already been staked. And these are, you know, occasionally we buy properties and you'll see property boundary markers that are like these kind of redneck property boundary markers. Somebody put a stick in the ground and that's supposed to signify where the thing starts and ends at. These property markers are good ones, though. These are some, you know, thick wooden poles, some thick wooden posts that give you an excellent sense of the property boundaries. The point is that if you purchase the land, you will not have to spring for $1,000 or $2,000 survey cost because you already have it dictated to you where exactly this lot starts and ends at. Here's another one, etc. Additionally, as we go through these guys, of course, as you can see, this is a nice flat buildable piece of land. You're not going to have to do too much landscaping, too much excavating to put down a trailer, a mobile home here, or even start to build a home site. This, of course, is another property boundary marker. You can also see the power lines that are on the property. This is the, as noted, the southern boundary of the property is where that utility easement exists, etc. And, oh, hey, look, there we go. Helpfully notated. Utility easement along southern boundary of property. Point being, the placement of that utility easement suggests that it should be easier and more affordable to get power extended to whatever you eventually build on the property, etc. By the way, the local utility out there is called San Isabel Electric. We, of course, have them linked on the listing page in various places. I will point those out before the video expires. But point being, you can reach out to them, contact them, and find out exactly degree of difficulty, cost, expense, and logistics involved in getting power from the line on the property to the home on the property, etc. Finally, guys, let's not bury the headline. One of the big things that jumps out to us here are these fantastic peaks off in the background, the mountains off in the background, the Sangre De Cristos Mountains, the Spanish peaks, etc. I should have you guys know, photographers out there 2 days in a row. One day was good weather, one day was sunny weather, one day it snowed. So we've actually got two sets of photos in this gallery. They're mostly a repeat, but you get a better sense of the mountains and exactly how majestic and really pretty these things are off in the background. If you take a look at the second series of photos with all the snow on the nearby mountains. Additionally, in the second set, you will also see we've got a neighboring structure roughly 1,000 feet west of subject property. This is what I was pointing out earlier. Point being, you can see that somebody has built up out here. And we've got power lines out to their property, and looks pretty developed. Anyway, finally, guys, just want to point out to you that here in the gallery, we're going to have, first of all, the drone video down here at the bottom of the page, like we have with a lot of our properties. It'll give you a good sense of the size, or the, hello, terrain and surroundings of the property. But additionally, we also have the helpful drone images up here, which show off the land, show off the area around the land, and then, of course, we notate exactly where this thing starts and ends. If you squint and really scrutinize these photos, you can see the property boundary markers. Hang on, guys. You can see the property boundary markers that are outlined here. Let me go back to this one. Here's one down here. There's one back there, so on and so forth. But they do actually, they're basically right at the corners of the lot. So, again, not going to have to spring for a survey, etc. Anyway, guys, I will let you review this on your own time. I want to get into some zoning stuff. I want to get into covenants, restrictions, etc. If you come up here to the top of the listing page, we have, helpfully, under our property-specific notes, a little bit about this Greenhorn Village subdivision. As noted, that is the name of the subdivision. For the record, guys, a lot of people get kind of confused when we say subdivision. Subdivision suggests to a lot of people that there's an HOA. That's not really what it means. Subdivision is sort of a name that the person who developed the area and subdivided it gave it, in this particular case, Greenhorn Village. Whatever the case, as we write here, Greenhorn Village has no property owners association, and there are no annual dues charged for the privilege of owning land here. The subdivision does, however, have a set of covenants, and if you click on this link right here, it's going to take you to the covenants and restrictions that were created with the land at the time that this was subdivided. It should be noted, whenever you see covenants and restrictions, these things tend to run with the land from now until the end of time. That's at least in theory. When these things are formed, they write these things out, and they are there to kind of dictate what can and cannot be done on the land. What is this? We are seeing no evidence that these things are actually being enforced, but pretending for 2 seconds that they are, you should know that these are all pretty light covenants, pretty easy, agreeable, reasonable, good neighbor type stuff. Don't set off fireworks. Don't start fires on your property because you've got trees around you. You don't want to start a giant fire. Don't leave a bunch of trash on the land, etc., etc. There's some heavy notation in here about what specific lots can be subdivided and how they can be subdivided, etc. As noted, this is lot 231. I'm seeing 233 down here. I'm seeing 230 and 232 up here. I'm sure it's in here somewhere, but the point is it at least kind of gives you some guidance if you do want to subdivide the property in the future, how you can do that and how far down you could go in subdividing the land. This looks to me, I like to make this joke, this looks to me like somebody had an attorney who enjoyed their billable hours because this thing is really overwritten. A lot of notes about subdivision. Anyway, point being, very light covenants. If they're being enforced at all, you should know that they're, all pretty reasonable, but we encourage you to read them over, etc. Now, additionally, guys, also up here on the listing page, we have some other notes for you. A lot of people who buy properties from us always want to know what the rules are as far as RV usage. There's nothing outlined in the covenants about RV usage, so we're just going to point you to the Huerfano County zoning. This is an excerpt right here. If you click this, it'll bring up this little document right here. Again, this is an excerpt, but basically 30-day period is how long you are allowed to RV on the property. Of course, if you're building out there and you get a building permit, the county's very reasonable. Like most counties in America, they anticipate you need something to live out of while you're building the new thing. So if that is the case, you can get a building permit for, of course, much longer than 30 days. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, guys, as promised earlier, I do want to point out to you, we also have links up here for the local utility company, as noted, San Isabel Electric. If you want to contact them, they've got offices in Walsenburg, but this, of course, is their website. Always a good idea to reach out to companies like this and just sort of ask, hey, I'm buying some land. It's just north of the state park. It's got power lines running along, run along the boundary. What's this going to cost? I want to build X, Y, and Z. You're probably going to have to extend some cable out to the house, etc. What's that going to cost me? And some of these companies will hook you up for free or at a very, very reasonable rate because they know they got a paying customer from now on. Anyway, point being, those are always good conversations to have in advance of the purchase. Finally, guys, I want to point out to you something that we have here. So I don't like to do this with the New Mexico properties, but it's actually a lot easier to kind of do this in Colorado. Colorado Division of Water Resources. Let's say you buy this property, you're going to drill a well, you're going to put a well down here, you need a drill a well permit, you need water rights, so on and so forth. This is the government entity in Colorado you're going to be dealing with. And unlike New Mexico, they actually have a really helpful website with a lot of information, and it's really easy to navigate. The New Mexico website has a lot of information, but it is not easy to navigate. Anyway, one of the things I want to point out to you, Well Permit Map Viewer. Now, if you click on this, I'm probably going to have to pause the video because this is going to take a little while. But it brings up this website, and it shows you the state right here. So Huerfano County is this oddly shaped county down here. And if we zoom in on the map, and specifically here's Lathrop State Park. So if we zoom in down here, and we kind of push the map up here to Culebra, street I can't pronounce. This is where the subject property roughly is located, guys. And if you go to, let's click on some things here, well application and final permit. If you click on those things, it is going to highlight the map with some green dots. Here's one, here's another. Point being, if you click on these, you could see up here, well depth 300 feet. You can see exactly how deep the wells are all around you and how far people had to drill to get water onto their property. So that one's 300. This one over here is 90. I feel like if it said 900, I would know it's a typo. 90 sounds okay, perhaps reasonable, but the point is that 90, that's pretty good. And that's very, very close to where the subject property is. Additionally, let's pull back a little bit more. Let's look at some more here. Here's another one. This one's 340 feet. This one over here looks like it's on a higher elevation. No, 250 feet. Well, anyway, the point is, guys, you can actually get a lot of information off of this website, and it's a lot more just sort of logical and intuitive and easier to navigate. So if you do want to do some more digging into well depth in that region, of course, we always recommend talk to local vendors. If your plan is, hey, I'm going to drill a well, you should know how much you're going to, or you should have a ballpark sense of how much you're going to spend on that in advance. This is a good resource for that. Also, of course, talking to people who do it professionally. Furthermore, guys, we have down here on our listing page, under county contact information, Beginner's Guide to Well Permits. Click this PDF and it'll bring up this thing that, again, we've boosted from the Colorado Division of Water Resources website, but it's actually a really good tutorial. It's a lot of good information. If you don't live in Colorado, or even if you do live in Colorado and you've never drilled a well before and you know nothing about it, this will give you a lot of just really helpful tips and advice about how this process works, what you should expect, things you should know going into it, etc., etc. Anyway, so we've provided that for you there as well. So we got a property with power at the lot line. It's been pre-staked. There's no HOA. There's no annual dues. And the covenants and restrictions are really light. And, of course, it is by two major bodies of water out there. If this seems like something you are interested in, you should know that, number one, we closed on this with daughter abstract. That means we have title insurance, and we'll be providing you with a warranty deed. So if you do want to buy this, guys, just come up here, click the Buy Now button. It's going to take you to secure checkout. Well, we're going to ask you for, and let me stress this, a non-refundable earnest money deposit of $500. $500 is going to kick off the process. Basically, you give us your name, tax address, where Huerfano County is going to send the annual tax bill. Agree to the terms of service down here, which again includes the no refund thing. Click next, and on the next page, we will ask for credit or debit card information. So the way that this works, guys, is when we got a property that's in this price range, this $18,000 price range, we do not anticipate, we would consider it unreasonable to ask you to give us $18,000 over the internet. If you want to, we're not going to argue with you on that point. But what we recommend for properties in this price range is let's close through a title company. Let's get an earnest money deposit. We'll write up a contract. We sign it. You sign it. We'll submit it to the title company, and they will do the rest. And to be clear here, guys, we've closed on this with daughter. It's best we close through daughter again. That is our formal recommendation to you, the buyer. Whatever the case, the way that this works, guys, if you come up here to our How It Works Buying From Us page, we kind of go through this process in some detail here. You're going to want to scroll down here to this second type of closing, recommended closing title escrow. And basically, this just enumerates what I said, which is that put down the earnest money deposit. That's step one. Step two is we draft a contract. You sign it, we sign it. And step three is we open escrow. Title companies are very deliberate. We're going to say deliberate. We're going to be charitable and use the word deliberate. The point is it's a 30, 45-day process before they're asking you to fund the rest of the transaction or they're asking us to sign the deed. Whatever the case, when that process comes to a close, that's what they ask for. You do not need to be present in Colorado. If you live out of state, you don't need to be out there for that. Everything can happen with email, phone, and fax. If people still use fax machines, you can use that. And they will ask you how you want to get the money to them, whether that be a cashier's check or whether that be a wire transfer, et cetera, et cetera. And for the record, guys, if you'd like to see what that contract looks like that we're going to ask you to sign, just click that link right here. We've got a generic version of one of our standard contracts. As you can see, one page for signatures, very easy to go through. But if you'd like your attorney to look at it or your friend who's an attorney or whatever, that's fine. fine with us. We do, however, ask that after you put down the $500 deposit, you submit this back to us or to the title company within about 96 hours. Why do we ask for 96 hours? Because it's a long process, and you've given us money to do something, and we can't do it until you sign the contract. So it's very important, guys, that once you give us the money, you also sign the contract. And, of course, we give you some time to review that. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, guys, if you have any questions, leave a comment here on the YouTube. Shoot us an email, support@hemingwayland.com. We've been buying a lot of properties out there in Huerfano. They've been selling pretty quickly. We always recommend to buyers, do your due diligence, exercise discretion before beginning a transaction like this. But at the same time, we're also going to tell you, move faster rather than, move sooner rather than later, because these things are selling out pretty quickly. Anyway, with all that said, guys, thanks for watching as always, and we will see you in the next video.